Hello guys, welcome to my channel. What if Naruto betrayed and destroys Konoha? The fifth Hokage, Senju Tsunade, walked down the hallway to her office, and if she was honest with herself, didn't really like heading there knowing what awaited upon her arrival there. In her office was a mountain of paperwork that held the village together regarding funding, missions, who went on patrol, etc. What was also on Tsunade's desk for her to look at were the recon reports regarding the enemy force from Kumo and Iwa heading their way. Ever since the fiasco regarding the dead noble in Lightning Country from the attempted arranged marriage with Hyuga Hinata, who somehow acquired exploding tags to kill the man along with herself, had caused a big problem, and Konoha was taking the fall for it. Both Daimyo and Kage of the offended party demanded an explanation to how Tsunade could let that happen. Something Tsunade could not explain to them despite trying to find evidence on who had provided Hinata with the means to successfully assassinate the Lightning Country noble. She suspected the Konohamaru Corps has a hand in it, as they blew up too, but how they acquired the explosive tags baffled Tsunade. As such, she couldn't give anyone an answer, and that made the Raikage extremely angry with every intention of going to war. The only one with the power to save Konoha is Naruto, but he refused to let Jiraiya undo the seals on him, and knows it's only through him that we stand a chance of surviving this war, thought Tsunade before entering her office, and was surprised to see someone sitting in Hokage's chair. I always wondered what it would be like to sit in this chair as a full-grown adult. I'm a bit disappointed it didn't meet up to my expectation, said the figure before turning the chair fully to face Tsunade. Naruto, said Tsunade with the blonde smirking at her while two shadow clones of the blonde Uzumaki shut the door behind the woman. Hey old hag, miss me? Said Naruto with Tsunade just standing there in shock. How did you get around my Anbu? Said Tsunade with Naruto smirking further at her. Easy, I killed them, said Naruto before breaking the genjutsu in the room to reveal her Anbu bodyguards were on the ground having died horrible agonizing deaths. Naruto, why? Said Tsunade, seeing him now with his clothing he was dressed in being that of the Leaf's Anbu Black Ops uniforms though no Leaf headband. Why not? These guys are from my childhood. They were assigned to guard me, but they looked the other way when I was attacked growing up, and some even helped with smiles on their faces. Why wouldn't I want to kill them? Said Naruto, seeing Tsunade looking at the dead shinobi in her office. Shizune will be here any minute, Naruto. So will Jiraiya since I have a meeting within the hour, said Tsunade with Naruto shaking his head. No you don't. It's been cancelled, said Naruto with Tsunade narrowing her eyes at him before they widened. You didn't, said Tsunade with Naruto just smiling at her. I did. Those two are dead, have been since last night into early morning, said Naruto with Tsunade scowling in anger at him. Shizune was innocent, said Tsunade while raising her voice at him. Guilt by association, Tsunade. Isn't that how people in the Leaf judge other people? Said Naruto, seeing Tsunade was not pleased. She was still innocent, said Tsunade while clenching her fists tightly. Hardly. She was a medic nin like you. Learned everything she knew about the human body from you, right? Said Naruto, seeing Tsunade. What's your point? Said Tsunade while Naruto balanced a kunai on the tip of his finger. My point is, she had access to my file, and knew how the doctors did a piss-poor job in patching up my body if at all, since Kyuubi did most of the work they refused to do from the start. Yet not once did she report her findings. Not once did she ask you to intervene and teach those so-called doctors a lesson. I get messed up from the fight with the team, you two spend hours healing everyone else, and leave me alone with medication that's mostly outdated. She came into my room once and I asked her if everything was okay. Do you know what she said to me? Said Naruto with Tsunade shaking her head no to his question. What? Said Tsunade with Naruto giving her an empty smile. Shizune said, nothing a demon needs to be concerned about. Just go back to being in pain like the little monster you are, and walked away. Didn't even clean my bandages. I had to do that myself, said Naruto with Tsunade flinching and looking away. I'm sorry, said Tsunade with Naruto scoffing at her. Spare me your so-called apology, Tsunade. It means little to nothing to me. Just like the rest of the village, said Naruto while getting out of the chair and looking out the window at the people completely unaware of his return to the village. Why are you here? Not to save us from the looks of things, said Tsunade with Naruto smirking at her. You're not as dumb as you look. I'm not here save the Leaf. I'm here to get some justice against those that wronged me. I've already taken care of Shizune as of last night and Jiraiya this morning when he was doing his research for his next book. It was kind of sad really. The man knew so many jutsus, was a seal master, and feared from one country to the next. Only to be slain by his former student, if only for a brief time, and during the time his guard was down peeping on women. Pathetic, said Naruto with Tsunade's eyes tearing up. You got what you wanted, Naruto. Now get out, said Tsunade while Naruto just let out an amused chuckle at her. No, I don't think I will. While I got 2 people, I didn't get everyone I wanted, and I'm not leaving until that happens, said Naruto seeing Tsunade feeling a cold shiver run up her spine. Who exactly did have in mind, said Tsunade with Naruto grinning evilly at her. Aside from you, a lot of people, said Naruto before his eyes changed and Tsunade just gasped at what her eyes beheld. It can't be, it's impossible, said Tsunade with Naruto letting out a dark chuckle. I'm an Uzumaki, you old bitch. Nothing is impossible when I'm involved. You would know that if you had stayed to raise me said Naruto before he struck the surprised Hokage. Ichiraku ramen stand sometime later. It's a slow day today, said Ayami with her father in the back letting out a sigh. Yeah, with everything happening in the village it's no surprise few people come to eat here regardless of the fame we have in fooling him, said Chuki while missing those days where Naruto would eat here at his ramen stand and the chemicals put in each bowl would help stunt the blonde's growth in graduating at the academy. I still can't believe he refused to help Konoha. After all we've done for him. We gave him food when others wouldn't. He owes us, said Ayami angrily while her father just sighed. I don't want to talk about the brat today, Ayami. Just let it drop, said Chuki before he went outside to the small storage unit to put away some supplies. Only to bump into someone. Sorry, I'm looking for the Ichiraku ramen stand. Do you know if it is nearby? Said the figure with Chuki nodding. Just go around this building, through the alley, and you're right there. I'm the owner so I would know, said Chuki with the figure smiling behind his straw hat leaned down to hide his face. That's good to hear. I'm glad nothing has changed since I was here 6 years ago, said the figure before walking around Chuki with the owner of the ramen stand smiling. What a nice guy, said Chuki before moving some things in his storage area. Welcome to Ichiraku ramen stand. What can I get you? Said Ayami cheerfully. I'd like the Naruto special, said the figure making the woman freeze. I'm sorry, what special? Said Ayami while being unable to see the face of the man behind the straw hat. I said I want the Naruto special. Are you hard of hearing? Said the figure while sensing Ayami was feeling nervous. We don't serve that anymore, sir, said Ayami since she didn't know how to tell him what was in the Naruto special. Really? Why? Said the figure curiously. I'm not at liberty to say, sir, said Ayami with the man letting out a chuckle. Oh, I see. Does it have anything to do with some of the ingredients being used to make the mind slow, sluggish, and the variety of various poisons meant to melt one's internal organs to result in an agonizing death? Said the figure before lifting his head to reveal his identity to Ayami, who gasped in shock and fright before backing up in fear. Naruto, said Ayami before he was in front of her in an instant with some shadow clones closing up the shop. Hello Ayami, did you miss me? Said Naruto grinning from ear to ear at the frightened woman before him. Naruto I'm so glad you're back, said Ayami while Naruto just grinned further. Then why are you trembling? Why do you look at me with such fear? Said Naruto, as the woman in front of him averted her eyes and was already beginning to cry. I'm not afraid, said Ayami though her tone was filled with fear just like her eyes. Oh, then I shouldn't have to worry about that right hand of yours trying to slowly reach for the butcher's knife now less than 2 inches from your fingertips, said Naruto with Ayami's hand freezing for a second before quickly reaching for it and moved to stab him in the neck. Only for Naruto to catch her wrist. My father will be back soon. He's a former leaf shinobi, said Ayami hoping it would make Naruto pause in his actions. Really, that's actually kind of funny Ayami-chan since I am a former leaf shinobi too. The only difference is, where he stopped training upon retiring from being one, I did not, and it's high time you two paid me back for your betrayal, said Naruto before breaking Ayami's wrist to make her drop the weapon. Please don't hurt me Naruto-kun. I regret ever making those kind of specials for you, said Ayami with Naruto grinning further. But they were all delicious specials Ayami-chan. In fact, I think you should find out just how delicious those specials really were, and since your bastard of a father helped make them, I think it's only fair he gets a taste of his own creation, said Naruto with his smile leaving him and became glare while a deep growl came out of his throat. Ayami could only whimper when looking into his eyes. Ayami, why is the front entrance to the stand shut and locked from the inside? I just ran into someone a little while ago and he looked hungry, said Chuki entering from the back to see Ayami tied to a chair, her eyes filled with sorrow and tears knowing that something bad was about to happen. Hello old man, said Naruto appearing behind Chuki and slugged him right in the face when he turned. Naruto, said Chuki while looking up at the Uzumaki while blood fell out of the side of his mouth. Got it in one. Your favorite customer has come back home to eat old man. And the food he has in mind on filling his stomach with, is revenge, said Naruto with his eyes having changed into something else and it shocked Chuki to no end. Wait. Naruto stop, please. Listen to reason. I'm sorry for what we did. Honestly, it was all my idea. Ayami was against it at first, but I convinced her you were a monster, and we providing the village with a sacred duty only we could perform, said Chuki, as he backed away from Naruto, and the Uzumaki just smiled at him. Really? Because Ayami told me it was her idea and that she convinced you to go along with the plan. How she had you wrapped around her finger since she was daddy's little girl, and a father's weakness has always been their little girl, said Naruto with his arms crossed in front of him. She's lying. It was all me. All of it was me, said Chuki while Naruto shook his head at him. I'm not naive enough to believe that Chuki-san. You betrayed my trust, my friendship, and paraded your success of what was done for all the village to acknowledge. When my time here with you two is over, I intend to parade my success around for everyone to see, and for everyone to know that the days being alive are numbered, said Naruto before he rushed forward, and if the sound barrier jutsu wasn't up prior to this, people would have heard their screams. Hours later, this is bad, said Hitaki Kakashi, as saw the inside of the ramen stand, which had been unexpectedly closed, and saw the Anbu inside looking everything over. Inside the ramen, Chuki and Ayami were both dead. They were both tied to chairs, eyes covered by blindfolds, and foam was coming out of their mouths. Both of their faces had showed they died agonizing deaths from eating something that was not meant to be eaten by the human digestive system. Pinned to their foreheads via a kunai to the skull were ramen recipes that been among the many of the Naruto specials the two had made for the Kyuubi Jinchuriki during his childhood. Kakashi winced knowing that karma had a way of letting one know past deed tend to bite you in the ass. Shizune had been found earlier this morning. She had been found on the ground, her guts torn out, limbs sliced off at the elbows, and the knees with a sword piercing the heart. She had a look of shock and horror on her face that told the Anbu investigating that Shizune knew her attacker. Whoever it was had struck the previous night, intent on hurting the Hokage's assistant without care, hesitation, or mercy in the actions performed against the woman. Ibiki had looked at the scene to see if it was a sign of interrogation method, but the master of the art told them Shizune's death had been done with the intent just to make her suffer, and not to extract information since the act itself was too brutal in nature for a simple interrogation for information. The same could be said about Jiraiya. Another Anbu squad on patrol had found the Sannin, or rather, what was left of him being eaten by wild animals. They could tell it was him because his head wasn't connected to his body, but rather pinned to a tree with via a sword to the forehead, and saw a bird try and get at the eye. This was to be kept in the dark from everyone else until the Hokage could address this matter herself in front of the rest of the councils and the clan heads. Another problem, another secret problem few knew about, was the Hokage was nowhere to be found. It was making some of the shinobi nervous. Was this some kind of secret intimidation tactic by the soon-to-be attacking forces of Iwa and Kumo? To what end? It would only inspire the village to fight him even harder when the time came. There must be a pattern here. All these people have a connection somehow. What do all these people have in common? Said Kurenai, seeing beside Kakashi to see the horror that this once happy place was now shrouded in. I don't know Kurenai, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizune I can see having a connection. But these two, it doesn't make sense in the slightest, said Kakashi, since they were the few people in Konoha to know the Hokage was missing. You don't think he did this, said Kurenai while Kakashi narrowed his one eye since he knew who she was referring to. It doesn't seem possible. His chakra was sealed off. How could he do this to them and the others without us even sensing him? Said Kakashi, as he didn't want to think about his former student, and yet there was this sliver of fear prickling in the back of his mind telling the Junin it was Naruto. Still, I'm worried it is him, and with Hinata dead, said Kurenai seeing Kakashi nod. His only restraint against us is gone, said Kakashi finishing the sentence for her. How do we proceed? He was your student for a time. Surely you'd understand him better than anyone, said Kurenai with Kakashi shaking his head. I didn't teach him anything except chakra control, and even then he had too much chakra to gain the control needed to use the principle properly. He's had 6 years all to himself, so the Gaki has an unknown arsenal of skills up his sleeve. If it is him, said Kakashi with Kurenai unsure what to say. We betrayed him, all of us. When Hinata was on my team, I told her to be cautious of Naruto, and basically implied he was an animal that would strike at any moment. She had this look in her eyes, filled with betrayal when I first talked to her about Naruto like that, and looking back now it's clear to me Hinata knew about Kyuubi from the start. Yet at the same time, she didn't care about that fact, and saw Naruto for himself. She saw him with her own eyes, made up her own mind about Naruto, and wouldn't listen to anyone speaking ill of him for whatever reason, said Kurenai with Kakashi looking sad for a moment. If you could go back, would you do things differently, or just do what needed to be done for the good of the village, said Kakashi with Kurenai thinking things over. No, I did what I did without regret and I'll stick by my decision. If I feel regret now just makes me feel guilty and I refuse to feel guilt about this, said Kurenai, as she saw the Junin beside her nod and walk away to think. She didn't see the figure in the alley watching and listening to their conversation. It would also be the last time anyone in Konoha would ever see Kurenai again. Hospital Uchiha Sasuke's room. Who is there? Show yourself, said Sasuke having heard someone enter the room and the sound of flesh being cut with the dripping of blood soon following. It's kind of sad seeing you like this. Not as sad as the Anbu guarding you, but that's to be expected when the last Uchiha is just a broken horse, said a figure having easily slain the Uchiha's guards. I know that voice despite the change from years being away. I recognize your chakra signature too despite your masking of it, said Sasuke, as he could still remember his fight with him years ago, and the chakra was felt from the fight. That chakra signature left its mark on the Uchiha. So you know who I am. That's good. I'm glad to see some of your brain Itachi left behind in your head still functions after the beating he gave you, said Naruto while moving towards the bed. What do you want, Naruto? Said Sasuke while sensing Naruto reach the side of his bed. To finish what Itachi started when we were just 8 years old. He died last month by the way, said Naruto with Sasuke jerking his head like he was struck. What? How? Did you somehow do it? Said Sasuke since he didn't expect Itachi to die just yet. The poisonous nature that gave him those eyes of his have a secondary effect aside from eventual blindness. The blindness itself occurs due to the eyes secreting a poison into the nerve centers that connects the eyes to the brain. After total blindness, the poison travels to the brain, killing key parts of it, and in the end becomes completely brain dead, said Naruto seeing Sasuke look sad for a moment. So, he's really gone, said Sasuke like it was a surprise that someone like his brother could die in such a manner. Yeah, I was with him in his final days before the end. We talked, shared fond memories, and even laughed at the pranks I pulled on the village, said Naruto with Sasuke having disbelief on his face. Itachi never laughs, said Sasuke while Naruto just smirked. He did with me. I treated him like a person. Not a shinobi. Not like an Uchiha. Just a person wishing to die happy, said Naruto while remembering his time with Itachi and wished him the best of luck in the afterlife. And now I'm the only Uchiha left, said Sasuke wondering why that upset him so much. Wrong. As of this moment, all the Uchiha are simply extinct, said Naruto before he put a kunai to Sasuke's throat and cut it open with the Uchiha struggling to love. No, not like this. It can't be, thought Sasuke before he died choking on his own blood. So many Bacchus to kill so little time before the allied invasion force arrives, said Naruto to himself before leaving the room. Shinobi Academy roof. Iruka had gotten a message from Anko to meet him up here. Why she did, the Shunin rank teacher didn't know, but Iruka was hoping it was in regards to her accepting his proposal for her hand in marriage, and they could both create a family together. Anko had been put off at first by Iruka's interest and even the request for marriage sometime later since no one wanted to be with her in the first place due to Orochimaru being her former teacher. Maybe she's going to say yes. I hope she does, thought Iruka with a smile on his face. Waiting for that special someone, said Naruto, appearing behind Iruka, who turned to see him, and was surprised to that the blonde was even there. Naruto, said Iruka before his eyes widened in horror at the realization he was being played. Anko's not coming, said Naruto simply. If you did anything to her I will, said Iruka while glaring dangerously at him. You'll what? We both know you can't do anything to me. Anko found that out the hard way. She fought back with everything in her arsenal, but in the end your girlfriend still failed, and felt my pain when it comes to being betrayed before death claimed her, said Naruto with Iruka's face showing he was devastated. You lie, said Iruka with rage in his voice while Naruto scowled at him. I may be many things, Iruka. Demon brat, Kyuubi Jinchuriki, and abomination, to name a few choice words this village spewed out during my childhood at me. But nobody calls Uzumaki Naruto a liar and goes to bed happy, said Naruto before he was in front of Iruka and slammed the Shunen's face into the wall. Anko was like you. Why did you kill her? Said Iruka despite having his face pressed against the wall. Because she was one of the biggest hypocrites in the entire village, just like you. It's only fitting the two of you got together, but I'm willing to bet that only happened after her curse seal vanished and news of Orochimaru's death reached the village. You wouldn't pursue her at first because of that so-called taint and decided to wait it out. To see if such a thing would happen, and if it did, you would act accordingly. I made sure Anko realized that before snapping her neck in the forest of death and letting the animals have the remains. Though I do hope they don't get any indigestion since they are eating human garbage, said Naruto with Iruka now struggling to get free from Naruto's grip. I should have killed you that night. I should have just taken a kunai while your eyes were closed, rammed it into your skull, said Iruka with Naruto letting out a chuckle. And risk the Kyuubi coming out to play? I think not. That's the reason, isn't it? Why you befriended me at the end. Don't bother to deny it, Iruka. I know your reason for it, said Naruto with Iruka glaring at him even further. And I regret ever showing you such mercy, said Iruka seeing the blonde narrow his eyes at him. Since you want to kill Kyuubi so badly for the death of your parents, I think it's only fitting that you get a chance to find out if it's remotely possible, and gladly let you two meet face to face, said Naruto before channeling chakra to his eyes and his hand with Iruka's own eyes widening in fright. Naruto's mindscape. Iruka found himself in a dark, sewer-like place, on his hands and knees with the ground flooded with water. Behind him were bars of a cage, and in front of the Shunen as the grinning image of the one creature he feared above all things since that night so many years ago. Hello mortal, do you remember me? Said Kyuubi while looking at the frightened man in front of him. Kyuubi no Kitsune, one of the 9 Biju, said Iruka with Kyuubi's grin growing. Good, now know me as Kyuubi no Kitsune, your destroyer, said Kyuubi, as he unleashed his demonic fury on a helpless Iruka, who screamed in pain and horror from the onslaught the fox was dishing out. In the real world minutes later, Naruto smiled before removing his hand from Iruka's head, seeing the now empty waste of space fall to the ground, and effectively disconnecting Iruka's soul from his body so the Shunen had nowhere to go. Even if the man managed to get to the bars of the cage, the seal itself was redesigned by Naruto himself to keep anything behind it from getting out, and while the Uzumaki trusted the fox to behave, there was always a possibility that something could happen to make Kyuubi go nuts against his will again should someone seek the Jinchuriki out. Kyuubi understood this, as he had made peace with the fact Naruto had to do such a thing for security reasons, and the blonde even told the fox in advance so there wouldn't be any sense of betrayal in trust between them. Naruto truly had a connection to the fox in a way the Biju never had with his previous jailers or with the Uchiha clan for that matter, since no one had ever tried to get to know Kyuubi. Most thought the Biju were mindless beasts that once sealed into humans could be tamed into fighting for their masters, but Naruto had seen things in a different light and explored what few dared to do. Enjoy my gift to you, Kyuubi. You have earned it, thought Naruto before setting Iruka's body on fire, since there was no point in letting such a thing stink up this building even more than it already did. With Inuzuka Kiba sometime later, Inuzuka Kiba was currently sitting down, his back against a tree with his dog Akamaru from a day of training, while thinking about how Hinata had died, and how the village was going to war against 2 shinobi villages. Ever since it happened, Kiba had been going over it in his head so many times, and wondered how Hinata could simply throw her life away. It didn't make sense. Why throw her life away when she was about to be married to a noble, be pampered for the rest of her life, have a family, and keep the peace between a rival village? So what if she had to give birth to a couple of kids? It is what a wife of a noble does to ensure her station of high status and to secretly influence others through her husband. I don't think I'll ever understand women, Akamaru, said Kiba with his dog barking in agreement before growling at sensing something unfriendly nearby. Which is why you'll never meet the right woman or get laid, said a figure appearing from the shadows, and Kiba became guarded. Who the hell are you? Said Kiba while Akamaru barked and showed his teeth. Don't you remember, Kiba? Then again, you're so busy chasing female tail for so long that your master has better senses than you, said the figure before lifting his head up so his straw hat wouldn't hide his face. Naruto, what are you doing here, traitor? Said Kiba while snarling at the former leaf shinobi. Traitor, how am I a traitor? Said Naruto with Kiba growling at him. Spare me your mocking question. Word is out about your decision when Jiraiya came home. You were given a chance to come back to the village, be a shinobi of the leaf again, and stopping our enemies from attacking. We could have gotten all our allies and trade agreements back, said Kiba with Naruto scoffing him. Konoha kicked me out, Kiba. They took away my chakra, told me to go to hell, and only when they need my help to turn the tide of the war in their favor do they ask for my help. Do they mean it when they say they are sorry? No. The moment the war is over and the village has won, I will once again be scorned if not executed on trumped-up charges for what I hold. They see me as an attack dog. They point at who they want me to attack and expect me to obey by attacking. I am a person with free will and I will not have it taken from me. I will not be told what to do by arrogant people, who think they can control me, and what I hold, said Naruto, as he saw Kiba bring out a kunai and got ready to attack. Did you also choose to forsake Hinata? To not even return to say goodbye? She loved you with all her heart, Baka. Hinata wanted to be with you and now she's dead, said Kiba angrily with Naruto smirking at him. You never did learn to look underneath despite having a skilled genjutsu specialist for a Junin sensei, said Naruto with the Inuzuka's eyes widening before the blonde was gone and behind him with Kiba falling to the ground dead. The head severed from the rest of his body while Akamaru whimpered in fear from the power the Uzumaki was letting out before running to the Inuzuka clan home to tell the others what happened. Are you sure it's wise to spare the dog? Said Kyuubi with Naruto smirking at him. Yes. Let him tell the others. Let there be panic throughout the streets. The fact there isn't means only a few know of their Hokage missing. They will soon seek out their Hokage for help, but all they will get is despair, and horror in realizing those they wish to defend them from my so-called evil, will have already fallen to it, thought Naruto before he had left the area. Konoha Memorial Stone with Kakashi was worried. And rightfully so given the fact several key shinobi in the village had been slain. What made things worse was Akamaru apparently telling Tsume the identity of her son's killer, and it was none other than Uzumaki Naruto himself. It made sense to Kakashi that Naruto was doing this out of revenge now that his chakra seals had apparently been removed long before Jiraiya paid the blonde a visit. How long remained to be seen, but clearly Naruto was out for blood, and the Junin was beginning to suspect the Hokage was dead if not close to it. Thinking about the past again. How long do you intend to stare at it like it's a gateway through time waiting to be unlocked, said Naruto since he felt it was pointless to hide his presence from the Junin. I knew you'd come for me. I just made things easier for you to pin me down at a suitable and private location, said Kakashi with Naruto smirking at him. Of course you did. I take it you also know I'm not here for an idle chat about old times. Not that there is much to talk about regarding old times, said Naruto, his smirk gone and was just a frown at the Junin. No there isn't. I spent more time training Sasuke than training you, said Kakashi with Naruto scoffing at him. That's an understatement. You teach me one thing and Sasuke gets just about every jutsu in your arsenal at his fingertips. You tell me to go practice chakra control and he gets the Chidori. Was his purpose in life so great you could only train one student at a time, or was the reason more personal, said Naruto with Kakashi sighing. You already know the answer to that question, Naruto. To answer it. Yes, it was personal. Your father was my sensei and he raised me like a son after mine died. When Minato sensei died, I blamed you. I blamed your mother because she brought you into the world and because of it the seal was weak enough for the Kyuubi to get free, with the end result causing his death. Everyone I had ever loved had been taken from me and I hated the fox for it, said Kakashi with Naruto growling behind him. And since I had the fox sealed inside of my body, you decided I was fair game, and just damn the fact the Yondaime Hokage was my father, said Naruto with Kakashi letting out another sigh. I didn't know until after the banishment came down, said Kakashi before he felt Naruto letting out a great deal of killer intent. That's irrelevant. It didn't matter if I was his son or not, Hitaki. You betrayed his dying wish. You betrayed him. You betrayed his family. You betrayed his son. You betrayed me, said Naruto angrily with Kakashi nodding. I'm sorry, Naruto, said Kakashi before turning to look at Naruto, and his one normal eye widened at seeing his former student's eyes change into something completely different than the usual blue. It was the Rinnegan. Not yet, but like the rest of Konoha and those I've killed. You will be soon enough, said Naruto before he struck, and all the Junin before him saw soon after was darkness. Hokage Tower meeting room. Why are we here? What could be so important that the Hokage would summon us to this emergency meeting, said Koharu, as she had her own things to do, and didn't want to be brought a meeting that interfered with her schedule by the Hokage. Koharu still felt the elderly should rule due to their wisdom, and the young should listen to them in return regardless of what they think to the contrary. I honestly don't know. I find this to be a bit odd. She hasn't been seen for some time and her assistant was found brutally slain, said Homura, with the clan heads looking very concerned. It's the Kyuubi brat. I'm sure of it, said a member of the civilian council, with many others in full agreement with him. It was. My son is dead. His dog partner Akamaru informed me that Uzumaki Naruto is his killer, said Tsume, to the shock of everyone, while a cruel laugh left the Hokage's chair and the sound of clapping could be heard from it. Why so surprised? It wasn't hard to figure out, said Naruto calmly, while many were shocked and fearful of him in the room. Anbu, yelled Homura fearfully for the leaf shinobi guarding the room, but none of them came, and even Danzo's root shinobi failed to appear when he secretly tried to call for his private army. Don't bother, the Anbu guarding the room have all been indisposed. Yours too, said Naruto, looking at Danzo, who was shocked to hear that, and even more in knowing the Kyuubi Jinchuriki knew about them in the first place. How does he know about Root? Thought Danzo while gripping his cane tighter. Demon scum, said a civilian councilman defiantly, but got a kunai to his skull for it, and his head hit the table with blood pooling down. One more outburst like that from anyone here and you all will die. No exceptions, said Naruto, with many grimacing or sneering at him. Why are you here? Said Koharu while watching him carefully for any kind of attack. Rumor control. Some of you here know some things already while most of you do not, and I am here to set records straight. For example, Jiraiya of the Sannin, Shizune, Hitaki Kakashi, Inuzuka Kiba, Tsuki, and his daughter Ayami from the ramen stand are all dead. I killed them all, said Naruto simply, like he was talking about the weather and how nice it looked outside, while keeping a few others he killed from being revealed. Why would you do that? Said Homura while disliking the smile on Naruto's face with each passing second. Because I can and choose to do that. When I was born, after the Kyuubi was sealed into my body, of course, you all wanted me to be your punching bag, and made sure to remind me of that every day of my life. Then, after many victories despite your attempts to hinder my growth out of fear I might become powerful enough to fight back should I choose to fight back, you have me exiled and chakra sealed off. The problem with that is you all failed to realize just how many friends I had on the outside, and how they didn't like it when they heard of what you did, said Naruto, seeing them scowl at him for different reasons. So you're killing us all out of spite. What about the Hokage? Said Danzo while Naruto just smirked at him and sensed the man was secretly channeling chakra to his eye hidden behind the bandages. That would be telling. Besides, I thought you made decisions without her all the time, and felt the need for strong centralized leader for a Hokage needed to be changed. That by having the power the position held be divided up between all of you, the need for a strong Hokage like the Yondaime Hokage was archaic, and the power should be in your capable hands. How's that going for you anyway? Said Naruto while sensing Danzo was getting ready to use his Sharingan eye hidden behind the bandage. With the forces of Iwa and Kumo approaching, we need her to defend the village, said Koharu with Naruto smirking. I'm sure you do. She does by village law command the pawns that are the shinobi of the leaf, and you have been doing your best to control her from your own positions here. It must be a real shame for all of you knowing it must all come to an end, said Naruto, as the people around him became tense and fearful of his meaning. Don't think for a second you can kill us here. Not all of us are weak, said Homura, as he saw Naruto's smirk increase, and then the Uzumaki let out a cruel laugh. Oh, you misunderstand. I'm not going to kill you fools. Too troublesome even for me. I think it's only fair Iwa and Kumo get their hands dirty when it comes to wiping Konoha off the map. Even as I speak, those two shinobi villages are heading here with detailed knowledge of the terrain, patrol routes, outposts before getting here, and basically all the information they need to get the job done, said Naruto, with everyone in the room now beginning to panic. How long until they get here? Said Inoiki, with Naruto just smirking at him before an explosion was heard at the wall. Right about now actually, said Naruto, while several civilian councilmen ran to the door, but found they wouldn't open, and seals were preventing them from leaving. I won't be able to command my forces from here. I need to get out, thought Danzo while looking at the window and then at Naruto. Don't bother, your root shinobi are all dead, Danzo. As for the doors and windows, they all have seals on them to prevent any kind of escape. The ones at the door will only stop working when I allow them to stop working, which will be when the enemy arrives here to kill all of you, and with the information I've given them since my arrival here in the village, it won't be long until the inevitable. As for me, I'm just going to enjoy the show since I'm not a leaf shinobi anymore. Well, the real me anyway, said Naruto before he went poof, and made everyone realize they had been talking to a shadow clone. With Naruto, the blonde Uzumaki stood on his father's head, a sense of irony in it all, and the fact he would bring about the fall of the leaf. His father made it rise and now his son would bring about its fall. A smile on Naruto's face showed with satisfaction in knowing his revenge would happen soon. With the leaf being overrun by its enemies, the people would be killed, captured into slavery, and the extremely young would be re-educated to serve their new village depending on who got who first. Kumo would get the Hyuga clan, which was a given, and Iwa would get the Aburame clan due to their own bug-based clan had failed to perform to its standards. The other clans would no doubt be divided in half, as one half would go to Iwa, and Kumo got the other per their agreement to work together in getting what they wanted. Naruto, please stop this. You alone have the power to stop the leaf from being destroyed by them. Save it. If not for them, then for your father and mother, said Tsunade, as she was beaten, tied up while chakra cuffs were put on her wrists, and chakra restraints at the ankles to deny any chance of the Hokage from running. Really? Because I think they would prefer I do this. I also know how you blamed me for my mother's death and I know how close you were to her, said Naruto, seeing Tsunade grit her teeth in anger and saw the enemy swarm into the village while taking everyone by surprise. I hated Kyuubi, said Tsunade while Naruto just scoffed and ignored the explosion coming from the Hokage tower where the meeting room with the governing body of Konoha had been trapped. Naruto probably should have mentioned the room had explosive seals on the floor and the ceiling of that room that activate should they try to go either route to get free. Oh well, he gave them a chance to face their enemies when the time came. It was no skin off his back if they acted irrational and frightened spoiled children trying to prevent themselves from facing the music. Kyuubi was sealed inside of me. You hated me due to my association with the fox and therefore decided betraying me was irrelevant so long as you got your revenge. So what if your surrogate daughter had a son? He had the fox sealed inside his body, and therefore was just as guilty as the fox himself. Did it ever occur to you that by betraying me, you betrayed by extension had betrayed my mother, and your grandmother since she was an Uzumaki too? No, I imagine your anger over the loss of so many people you love blinded your judgment and decided to ignore that little voice in the back of your mind telling you not to betray them like you did, said Naruto with Tsunade glaring at him. Kushina would be ashamed of you, said Tsunade with Naruto glaring back at her. That's funny coming from a hypocrite. You helped set things in motion, you old bitch. So don't blame me for the destruction of your grandfather's home. You and everyone in it brought this upon themselves, said Naruto before tying a noose around her neck, and he dragged her to the pole his clone stuck on the Hokage monument of the woman's face where the jewel had been on the rock formation. And what happens when Kumo or Iwa find out about your ability to use chakra again? About Hinata still being alive? They'll hunt you both down, said Tsunade, since Naruto had told her about Hinata not being dead and having orchestrated Kumo's involvement to invade Konoha with Iwa. They won't care. Konoha loves the Yondaime Hokage. Iwa gets to destroy his village he died for. They could care less that I'm his son. Kumo will get the Hyuga clan so they don't need Hinata, nor will they ever be allowed to try since Kyuki generously made her a key person within Spring Country's hospital division. Hinata-chan is now part of a key group of government officials, who reports directly to the Spring Daimyo, and provided information on the latest medical breakthroughs. If Kumo tries anything, then Spring Country will go to war with lightning, and I'll gladly make my powers known if it means they fall for their actions against her, said Naruto before handing the rope to his shadow clone and he was tying it to the pole. Your actions will create a gaping hole in the elemental countries in terms of power with Konoha destroyed. It will only create more pain, destruction, chaos, and all-out war for supremacy among the other 4 shinobi villages, said Tsunade with Naruto grinning at her. Possibly. I'll just have to wait and see. You forget that some of the minor villages have been itching to become major ones too. Not that it matter. Besides, wars are needed every so often to get bad blood out of the way, and let the air thin after being thick with tension from all sides. Like trimming fat or letting out a big sigh after breathing in so much air, said Naruto before dragging Tsunade to her feet and pushing her forward to the edge. That should be a very interesting lesson for your children to learn about the world.